fasteners and surface protection. This all is the vehicle total basic subsystems. Next slide. This is a typical suspension view, the spring on the top arm and all that on the bottom arm. Next slide. This is the air suspension, which air dampers and which are used. So if you are using these, then you must know its characteristics, what pressure, what weight, these all must be checked. Ensure proper open and close length so that there you have no issues. Next slide. The typical steering layout. Next slide. Similarly on brakes, we have already talked about it. Next slide. Fasteners. I would like to emphasize more on fasteners. Proper size, proper strength, proper length, quality, grade, proper surface treatment. This is most important. This is one of the major failure items at during the events at Pithampur, and including in technical inspection, your vehicle generally gets rejected because you have used incorrect fasteners. So use of plain washer, spring washer, nylock nut, castle nut, this is very, very important, and 100% inspection is necessary. You must have color code mark after inspection, including tightening check. Next slide. Typical fastener just, this is from your old textbook from the first semester of engineering. Next slide. These are the typical different types of washers which are used. Do not hesitate to use what is required. Next slide. Finishing surface protection. Normally many vehicles come with all corrosion and all kinds of issues, whether surface treatment is not done. So everywhere you must ensure a proper fit and finish, no dents, no cracks, rust, weld spatter, sharp edges should be avoided. Proper surface finish should be done using different types of plating, phosphating, blackwoodizing, painting, zinc plating, whatever is necessary. And this will ensure a vehicle appearance to be very good, as well as it will be prone to less failures. Next slide. I think this must be the last one. If there are any questions, we will answer now, or it can be done after Akhand's presentation. Hariharan, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll be taking the questions once Akhand sir is done with his presentation.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I think Hariharan, we can take questions related to Mundra sir first and make him free, and then I can take the session later on.
Sure, sir. Okay. Vishnu, can you please open the chat box still?
I already have opened the chat box.
Okay, so participants, you can now post the questions in the chat box, and we'll try to answer them.
I think if the questions are generic, like, mBAJA dates and all that, nothing related to Mundra sir, we can address that separately. If something specific to Mundra sir, we can take that right now.
I think Hariharan, it would be better if you just simply read out one by one questions, and whatever is to be answered will answer. The rest you can cover later.
Sure, sir. There's a question about will there be?
We have actually no time because the hydrogen BAJA will start at 7 o'clock and Akhand has to speak. So I suggest that he can note down all these questions. He can just copy the questions and then we can answer the team later on.
Okay, that would be a good idea since we have very less time available.
Yeah, we can even email it to them and they can ask the question in the BAJA forum also. Registration is already started. and the last date is 20th of May to register, and last date to pay the fees is 30th May. You have to go to BAJA website and register. So can you introduce the next speaker?
Yes, sir. I'll introduce. So for the next part of the presentation, I'd like to invite Mr. Akhand Pratap Singh, the State Sales Manager for MP in Cummins Power Generation. He has been a part of the Dynamics team and has been responsible to manage manage all the dynamic events. And he is responsible even for the endurance track. I welcome Akhand, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Hariharan. So what is the strength we have for today's session?
Sir, right now we have around 200 attendees in the session.
Hi all. Let me know if you see my screen once you start.
Yes, sir, your screen.
Hello. So in this session, I'll be taking you through dynamic and endurance events on mBAJA. So as Mundra sir was talking about statics and vehicle design. So first of all, what are dynamic and endurance event? So we take BAJA as a 1-year program for students where they are given a challenge to design their own ATV, manufacture it, test it, and compete it with others. Best way to find out the efficiency of their design and effectiveness of their design when we put it to test. What kind of test? So these are on-ground tests in a constrained environment, which are same for every teams. So the way the vehicles perform during this test, they are evaluated, and based on that evaluation, points are given, and that adds up to your total score. So that's how your design effectiveness, design and manufacturing, how better you manufacture your design and implement it on ground is what is tested here. So the overall dynamics and endurance event are spread out for 3 days. You come, you register, you clear your technical inspection. Once you clear your technical inspection, you can go for static parallelly, you can go for dynamic events. And in dynamic events, all the events run parallelly. Usually there are 4 events, 3 regular and 1 specialty. And you can take events in any sequence or any order. It's up to the team. So time management and all that, I'll talk about those things later. But yes, so this is all about dynamic and endurance events. Vora sir, just want to confirm, hydrogen BAJA session is after this.
If you have any presentation, you can go ahead, Akhand.
No, I have presentation on dynamic and endurance event, not on hydrogen.
Yeah, go ahead. If you have some pictures of various dynamic event, please.
Yeah. That I'm covering in detail. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is required before approaching dynamic events? So first of all, I would request all the teams to plan their schedule for all the 5 days that they come to the site in a very detailed manner, in an hour-to-hour or a minute-to-minute format. Divide their responsibilities among team members, that who is going to go for registration, who is going to collect fuel passes, who is going to collect food coupons, registration cards, so that you make utilize of your time at most. And then the major task and checkpoints for you is your vehicle should be tech okay. This is the most time consuming activity wherein there is a huge queue. Your vehicle should clear tech inspection before it comes to dynamic event. After the part of tech inspection, we have engine okay and brake okay. This is part of tech, but I have marked separately because again, teams take a lot of time, efforts in clearing these 2 tests. So all these guidelines are given in rule book. So first and foremost, basic thing, once you register, go through the rule book. If this year's rule book is not released, do not worry. Read the last year's rule book. There will be slight changes in next year's rule book, but mostly the rule book is going to remain same. So read the rule book thoroughly, like what are the requirements of tech okay, what are the requirements of engine okay, what are the requirements of brake okay. Once that is done, driver safety equipments, again, this is also part of tech okay, but a lot of teams have been struggling in sourcing and procuring right set of drivers equipment because safety is utmost for us during BAJA. drivers are exposed to very traumatic and dangerous obstacles. So if the driver's safety equipments are not rated with correct rating, they might get injuries. So whenever you buy driver's equipment, invest in good equipments. I am repeating, invest in good and genuine equipments. SFI rated, DOT rated, whatever the guidelines given in the rule book, follow that. Do not get into a trap of a reseller or a guy who is arranging from anywhere or second hand. Buy proper driver safety equipment. Whenever you have to report for a dynamic event, report on time. Every morning 9 a.m. the tracks are ready. You can come early first half of the day. Usually they are free. Most of the teams do not come on track and do not attempt the dynamic events. That has been a history since last 4 or 5 years that we have seen. So you can report, do the test in peace when there is no queue, and utilize your time for other activities and enjoy your time at site later on. And the last important point is try and attempt all the events. Though the dynamic events are optional, but the spirit of the event is maintained when you attempt all the obstacles. Your vehicle, you should be confident about your design, and in case any failure occur during the test, you should be able to correct that in time. That's the whole test is all about. If you skip the oral exam, you're not going to get exposed. So winning is also a part of this journey, but that is not the only thing. Learning is the major portion, and you will only learn when you will do mistakes, when you will fail, when you will not perform in any test, and you will pass on that learnings to next team. So my sincere request to all the teams is, whatever the dynamic events are there, you try and attempt all the events. Okay, now coming to specific events. Before coming to specific events, what is at stake during the dynamic events? Why dynamic events are important? So you can see in static virtuals also we have, marks distribution point. In preliminary round we have 100 marks. In virtual static event we have 200 marks. In virtual dynamic events we give 150 marks. And for physical dynamic events, 650 marks. So if you total 650 and 150, it is around 800, and your total marks are around 1200. So 2/3 of your total marks come from dynamic events. That's the point. So you need to focus on these events, attempt and prepare for them well. Now we'll talk about each event separately, like acceleration, traction, maneuverability, specialty event, endurance. But this is how the scoring looks like. So whatever your design is, your manufacturing is, your overall application, engineering application solution that you have devised is going to tested in this options. Just a second, let me just pull out the pointer options. Sorry. Okay. Now coming to first dynamic event. This is not a dynamic event though, but it's part of tech inspection. But I have included it in dynamic events because without this you cannot attempt any of the dynamic event. Brake test. It's a mandatory safety or a technical scrutiny point where the vehicles have to brake in 150 feet after accelerating 150 feet in a specific area, and the criteria for pass is the four wheels should lock at once. So here your brake calculation, brake force calculation, brake biasing, and all this engineering will come into role, where what Mundra sir was telling you, he has recommended some books as well. So how to do brake bleeding and all that, you need to learn how brakes work, all these basics. So once you are through that theory and fabricate your vehicle, you can practice in your college for brake locking. What brake locking is, I'll explain you in the next slide. So brake locking is the criteria what is tested by the technical inspectors, and once you clear this, you are open for all the dynamic events. And let me tell you, teams struggle to clear this. Their whole event is pivoted on this particular test, and there are huge queues. There are only two patches available for some safety reasons and availability of scrutiners. We cannot give unlimited runs to teams. They have to clear in specific number of runs. So be prepared, mentally prepared for right first time. Try and clear in as much as low attempts as you can. So you can actually simulate this test in your college. It's very simple. Brake procedure, the car will line up and it is started. It is on a linear patch. It will be the drivers will be briefed. There will be a start point, there will be end point. The driver has to accelerate from start to end. After the end, there is a braking zone where the drivers have to apply panic braking. Panic braking is very important to clear the brake test. You have to hit the brake pedal in once so that the complete brake fluid pressure is distributed to all the 4 brakes immediately, and the brakes lock. So if the 4 wheels do not lock, any of the wheels do not lock, you will not pass the test. Skidding is okay. Vehicle might drift after braking, but the wheel should be locked. This is how the brake procedure looks like. Aryan, is my video visible?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, see, the vehicle is speeding, it is crossing the line, and this is the braking zone. It has applied brakes. All the 4 marshals have given thumbs up, so the vehicle has passed. This is how the brake test is conducted. You can have a similar kind of terrain in your college, 150 straight patch, where you can have a start line, finish line, and do this brake test at your college level before coming to site, and make a video or a document the timings and all that. But important thing, you have to reach the max speed before you apply brakes. Is that clear? Sorry. So this is an online session. I have been used to talking to students directly. So yeah. Acceleration test. Now, from here we come to the actual dynamic events. The test is very simple. The fastest vehicle gets the maximum points. So there is again 150 feet straight patch, additional 50 feet for braking. There is a start line. There will be a count given to you at the start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. You have to accelerate in full speed, cross the line, brake, and the timing is noted. The timing is noted through sophisticated electronic systems. It has a beam at the start, another beam at the end. Once you cut the beam, your time starts. Once you cut the other beam, your time ends. So it's a very straightforward and simple test. This test is very important. Why? Because this will also give you grid positions. This has some maximum weightage on your deciding your grid positions, where you will start in the endurance. So securing good marks and at least attempting for this test is very important. So this happens in 10-15 minutes if there are no queue on the track. Otherwise, you might have queue. We give 2 attempts to each teams. Best of 2 or the average of 2, whatever is mentioned in the rule book, is taken as the timing, and based on that your scores are calibrated. Again, the procedure is same. So make sure that whenever you report to any dynamic events, your driver is kitted up properly. He is wearing all the safety gears, buckled up, and along with 2 team members, he is reporting at the dynamic events in walking pace. The vehicle should run in walking pace. Once he reports there, he will be briefed quickly, lined up, and the vehicle will be launched. So do not waste on time. We have seen teams pushing the buggies to the dynamic events and driver walking and then getting ready. It's all waste of time for you and for us. So be prepared whenever you come to any track, as if you will be given chance immediately. So that's my submission here. I've seen this teams not coming prepared properly. Acceleration trial. This is how the acceleration trial looks like. See, this is the start line. The marshals are briefing. The marshals are people in the red t-shirts. They're briefing the driver. It's gone. It's accelerating. And this is the buffer zone braking area. See how narrow we have. Now we have different tracks, but where we have space. So from here, he has to take a U-turn, and from again this point, he has to go in walking pace. So whenever the vehicle is not on track, they have to adhere to the walking pace policy. Next test is maneuverability. This is to check the your steering and suspension mechanism together. It's a series of zigzag track with loops with figure of 8 or different kinds of, so it's different every year. There is a start point, there is an end point. You have to do the track in least possible time. There are penalties in this track. There's new thing that involves in maneuverability is penalties. What are those penalties? I'll explain about that. But again, doing the track in minimum time is the challenge, is the task that we have to do. Again, the start and end procedures for all the track is same. Report at the track, completely kitted up. You will be briefed about the track. You can take a track walk, ask the track marshals to give you a track walk, or you can see one of the two events before you attempt. Turns, memorize the turns. We also try and put up a diagram of the track before at the start line, but that diagram usually doesn't help because track walk is what that gets you all the turns into your muscle memory and before you attempt. So, and again, it is demarcated properly. It is it has markings, so you follow the markings, then you can easily navigate through the maneuverability track. Try and not to hit the cones. You can go slow, you can take all the turns, but try and get as less penalties as possible. We have seen teams doing the track very fast, but they hit a lot of cones, hit the do not complete the gates, and they get penalties. So that's something that yeah, we can understand you are in a rush. You that atmosphere is so pumped up, but at times you need to be sensible in deciding your speeds and turns, how to take them. I'll show you how a maneuverability run looks like. See, the vehicle is start. It has given a go ahead. Now it started. This is the two cones. Now here he's turning. He's trying not to hit the cone. We have deliberately made the turn tight because that's how the turning radius of your vehicle is tested. See, this guy has sensibly taken a turn. The marshal has raised one hand. That means he has touched one cone. He will add 2 seconds to his overall time as a penalty. The reverse thing is not applicable now because most of the cars do not have reverse gears now. They have CVT, so we do not have this reverse turn now. So this is just a representation of the event. The tracks change every year. The challenges are increased every year. So there's just see the vehicle is doing the figure of 8. He has incurred a penalty. Now in the areas which are less complex, he can speed up and close. So this is where the run is completed. Moving to suspension and traction. So suspension, as the name states, this test your vehicle's suspension, overall torsional rigidity, your roll cage strength, and how your drivetrain is providing traction to the vehicle in rough and difficult terrain. So suspension and traction, we try and create a natural patch. Earlier we used to have this kind of artificial obstacles, but now we create the complete track out of the natural terrain that we have. So just a caution for you guys, this test can have jumps of around 12 feet. You guys have seen the jumps that Mundra sir was showing you was around 5 to 6 feet. Now we have seen in his past few events that we have kept jumps of around 10 to 12 feet also, and vehicles have done it successfully. Trust me, if you make your vehicle as per the rule book, you comply to all the safety norms, nothing is going to happen to the driver, nothing is going to happen to the vehicle. It's just the right way you need to approach to the track. So this will have jumps, this will have ditches, this will have sharp turns, stones placed in between. That is going to check your ground clearance. So you all need to keep all that things in mind while designing your vehicle. And this usually comes as a specialty event. And this is one of the most exciting events that I've seen. This is our old suspension event. Here's the start. The driver is taking a right turn. Now he's approaching ditches, placed in an articulated manner. Yeah. Third one penalty here. He's going on the ramp. Jump from there. Steps made of logs and compaction of surface. Again, two natural steps. Now the vehicle will run on reverse camber. Now here the traction thing comes into role. The wheels are spinning. The vehicle is not getting enough tractive effort to climb that gradient. And along with the gradient, it's a turn. From here, it'll come down. Again, jumps. In excitement, he has hit a cone and incurred the penalty in last. So this was the suspension that we've designed, I think, 5 years back. Now the suspension setup. So almost similar kind of jump, similar kind of impact on your suspension and a chassis that is going to come. So this is for your reference that how the event looks like. Mostly teams do not attempt this event, and let me tell you, this is one of the best events to attempt for. Do not worry that vehicle is going to get damaged. If you're not confident on your vehicle, if you're not confident on your design, then no point coming to the event. So you should attempt this event. We have seen only few events, and the teams which attempt this event are usually in top 10. This has been a history always, and we have seen teams like directly attempting this for the first time and clearing it through. So there's a saying, fortune favors the brave. You need to be that brave one to attempt this. Once you finish all this, usually the dynamic events are finished one day prior to endurance. Earlier, the endurance used to be on a Sunday. Last year, we tried with new experiment that we kept the endurance on a Saturday so that Sundays left for the students for HR meet and all, and for us also to wind up the activities. But endurance is culmination of all your efforts and everything into one main event, which decides the endurance winner. Endurance is a 4-hour race. As the name suggests, it tests the endurance of the vehicle, the drivers, and the team. How best you can perform this in this challenging and heated environment. Usually, the time when it is done, it's hot, it's dusty. At times, it gets rainy also. So the vehicle has to run for continuous 4 hours. We have wet patches on the track where the vehicles are covered with complete muck. The driver helmet visors are covered with mud, and he has very less visibility, and he has to perform consistently without compromising with safety during this race. So endurance usually requires a lot of preparation before you attempt. So one day prior till evening, the dynamic events will run. You'll finish your dynamic events and then you have to go for fueling. As soon as you finish your dynamic events, complete your fueling. Your vehicle should be topped up. Once you fuel up, go to the scoring area or go to the scoring portal, see what is your position of standing in the grid. Morning, get your vehicle ready, get your driver ready, ask him to push him to the grid in the morning itself and position your vehicle at your location. Get the safety built, a safety thing done, and get your vehicle inspected for safety and ready for the endurance. Once that is done, only one member is allowed to stand with the vehicle to crank the vehicle before the race. Once the race starts, which starts usually at 9 a.m. sharp in the morning, and it runs for 4 hours for till 1 p.m. And during that time, the teams are asked to remain in pits only. Only the drivers can go with their vehicles on track. No repairs are allowed on track. So do's and don't I'll explain again. But so usually the track is a series of all kinds of obstacles that you have seen in dynamic event. It will have climbs, it will have jumps, turns, ditches, hard patches, rocky patches, soft patches, sand patches, dirt terrain, muddy terrain. So it's usually a course of around 3 to 5 kilometers, somewhere between this, and you have to continuously keep on looping the track for 4 hours. The maximum number of laps in minimum possible time you do is the deciding factor for winner. So endurance procedure cars come and determine time based on their performance in acceleration. Again, I've ensured that drivers helmet, seat belt, driver to pass only on the rights. So there are some do's and don'ts for endurance. We have a driver's briefing one day prior to endurance race, and we also try and give a course walk for drivers, how the endurance track looks like. So attending that driver's briefing and course walk is mandatory for all the team members. We make a note of that because that helps us explaining them one day prior to the event that how the track looks like. Repairs are not permitted on track. If a vehicle is broken down, it will be towed to the pits. There are flag rules on track. I'll explain about the flag rules during the event, but those are mentioned in the rule book as well. You can read out, but more specifically, we can talk when we are on site. Post the endurance event, the top 10 cars are impounded. They are checked again. So you will be called off if you are in top 10 list in a specific area for impounding. Any car which is non-conforming to our rule book, our safety protocols will be disqualified. We have disqualified cars for team members on track. So just be sure that you do not, violate any norms that has been laid, and it is laid for your safety and better operations of the event. Special mentions. I explained about penalties. There are penalties in dynamic events, in maneuverability, in suspension and traction, in sledge. If that event happens, sledge pull is basically an event where the vehicle tows a load attached to it to a specific distance in least possible time. Fueling need to be done in a safe manner and in a specific area designated by the event organizers. Collect your fuel passes and get your vehicles fueled. Pit rules, you need to follow specific pit rules given in the rule book. Remember, you guys are engineers. You're going to be in industry in future. So maintaining safety and standards of operations while you work is very necessary. You're not mechanics, roadside mechanics. You are not doing any jugaad there. So whenever you do welding, whenever do you cutting, grinding, wear proper safety gears. Do not come in chappals at site. Always wear shoes. full clothes so that you're not exposed to any kinds of cuts, bruises, or injuries. The site is an jungle site. There are fears of snakes, insects, and all that. So come properly dressed up. Recommend everyone to carry one bag with a water bottle so that you can refill your water bottle at the water point. Keep yourself hydrated. Drink a lot of water. Always wear a cap that is given by the organizer so that your head is not exposed to sun. We have a medical center at site, but in interest of your team's effectiveness, it's advised that you do not get exposed to any kind of medical emergency. Otherwise, the whole team's focus gets diverted and they are demotivated. So have your routine on time, water on time, and all that. It's a very small thing, but keep yourself hydrated and uh, properly dressed up. And while working in pit and garages, follow the safety rules. There are penalties for not doing that as well. Unsafe practices at site are not at all tolerated. While driving on the track, you're free. Again, on endurance track, you have to drive as per the driver's briefing that we do. The sportsman spirit should be maintained. Cannot hit a car. You cannot overtake from wrong side. You cannot disobey the flag signals. You have to follow the flag signals. No repairs on the track. Do not argue with marshals. And at the same time, when you're not driving on track, you are moving from point A to point B during the event for any other thing, your vehicle should go on walking pace along with 4 team members walking on each side of the tire. So that's very important. Now, I think we are open for questions. Hariharan, have you shown them a trailer or a video of the complete event? Or I have one which explains about the whole event.
We are shown in the beginning, the trailer.
Yeah, so then it's fine. So any questions? I'm open for questions now.
Yeah, question will be in the chat box.
Just a second.
Can we use high octane petrol?
So the fuel which is provided on site is speed fuel. It's already a high octane fuel.
From BPCL.
So from BPCL, from our fuel sponsor. So you have to use only that fuel, no additional fuel. Sorry, can someone read the questions for me? I am not.
What about the new engine, sir?
So engine guidelines.
Maybe I can answer, Akhand.
Yeah, please.
As on today, we are using Bricks and Saturn engine. In case we decide to change the engine, we will let you know.
There's one more question. Sir, can you tell us about the dimensions of the tires?
Dimensions of tire are depending on teams what they decide. You have to do that calculations. What kind of tire size and width suits your vehicle design. So for that, you need to do tractive curve analysis. That's again a detailed theoretical exercise wherein what kind of power that you draw from engine and needs to be given on. So rim sizes I don't remember, but usually off-road rally tires are used and available sizes in market. You need to optimize your tire size based on that.
See, the tire size is dependent on the ground clearance what you want to provide, A, and B, the traction what you want to have. That is the second thing. Third is this is an unsprung mass actually. So it adds to the suspension related issues. If you have a very heavy tire, it becomes unsprung mass for the vehicle. So these are 2-3 criterions. Fourth is the tire tread pattern. So normally the teams carry 2 different patterns based on the event. They change the tires, and you need to have proper traction that will be provided by the tread pattern. So this is what it is. Load carrying capacity normally is adequate because the total weight of the vehicle itself, even if you had a 180 kilo vehicle with 70 kilogram, let us say, driver, 250 kg, normally about 125 to 150 kg is the maximum weight per tire. So that's not an issue. Most important thing is the ground clearance. The smaller the tire, the ground clearance will reduce, and also your possibility of getting caught into the ditches and all that will dramatically rise. So you need to have a proper selection based on these criteria.
There's one question, can we change the drivers in the fueling area? No, you have to go to the pits to change your driver. Hariharan?
Yeah, we can change the driver in the fuel area, correct, Akhand?
No, we cannot.
Then we have to go to the pit,
Yes.
our own pit, either individual pit.
Yes.
Okay.
Because driving during the fueling process, we need to have the vehicle connected to a we have to discharge the vehicle from the static charges. That is, so it's a very safety compliant activity. Once we go pass through that, we go to the pits, and then otherwise mishaps can happen.
Fine.
So there's one more question. Is reverse gear required?
It's not mandatory as per the rule book. So,
but it is preferable.
It's on the teams. If they have, better. Otherwise, if it not there, not a problem. It's not mandatory.
Can we change the number of components as per the dynamic event?
So the guy who has asked this question, he needs to elaborate why. I mean, number of components. I mean, I did not understand that.
How's the endurance grid lineup decided?
Based on acceleration and dynamic event scores. So there is a formula that is used. Let's say the number one car, which is in front, has performed best in all the dynamic events. He'll stand in front.
Okay, let's go ahead.
Any other questions, team? Hariharan?
Yes, sir. I think that's all about the questions. They are repetitive questions.
There's one question. Is there any weight test? So weight, your vehicle is weighed during your static evaluation. So your vehicle weight is also checked. I just saw a window popping up with that question. Okay, guys. I wish you all the best. Register on time. Prepare for your, virtual BAJA or virtual dynamic events or sessions. What is before the event? The better you spend time on your drawing board or with books and in planning the event, the better you'll perform during the event. So that's all from my side. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Hariharan. Thank you, Vora sir. Thank you, Mundra sir.
So there's one last question. If my car is designed to change between two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive and want to change it according to each dynamic event, is it allowed?
So as I understand now, four-wheel drive is mandatory, right, Vora sir?
Yes, yes.
So switching will not be allowed. That is what my understanding is, or is it allowed?
I would say it is. You can have a selective 4x4, 4x2. Though 4x4 is compulsory, this provision must be there on the vehicle. Based on the terrain, what they should be in it's not an all-wheel drive, all-time all-wheel drive vehicle. So you can have, but this has to be something which has to be done on the go. It cannot be something, where you end up in going back to the pit and doing something. So this change between 4x2, 4x2 should be on the move.
Yeah, so you are free to change to two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, but four-wheel drive need to be there.
In case, Hariharan, there are any other questions that you find, you can give me.
Says, well, will there be any workshop? Yes, there will be a lot of workshop for
Yes.
different things. For each and every event, there will be a 2-day workshop where you, it will be a physical workshop where you can come and ask questions to the speaker. So it will be a 2 full-day workshop.